Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 31 Media podcast. My name is Vaishnavi Nashte. I'm the marketing and PR manager here at 31 Media. Today's podcast is in collaboration with the Digital Transformation Awards and the AI Summit and Awards. These are two separate B2B events that are organized by 31 Media. So if you're interested in attending or exhibiting your tech solutions at either of these events, please follow the link in the description to do so. Joining us today is Kauleen, who is the Chief Operating Officer at TreviPay. She is also she's like an expertise. She's got a lot of expertise in B2B payments, RPA, and strategic planning. And we're thrilled to have her experience on the podcast. She has also written a fascinating article on our DevOps Online platform where she talks about how you can leverage automation to optimize order to cash. So please make sure to give that a read. You'll find the link to it in the description as well. And without any further ado, welcome to the 31 Media podcast, Colleen. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So thank you for taking time out at 8:30 in the morning, is it? Right before work. Before we actually delve into the questions, could you help our audience understand a bit more about your experience and how you sort of navigated into the space?
Yeah, I would love to. I when I talk about my career and my progression, I really like to start at what I consider to be like a pivotal point. And that was when I started learning about Six Sigma. So I'm a math geek, and what Six Sigma did for me was it gave me the right tools and combinations to use that math and that analytical mindset to really solve business problems and improve processes, which, as I even look at my career evolution today, it made me really open to how automation could also become a part of that process improvement journey.
Yeah.
And if I think about how that applies to TreviPay, at TreviPay, we manage a B2B payments and network solution for businesses who want to sell to their business buyers. And we do that through automation and managed services. And really, what we're trying to do is to help our clients grow their business in the B2B space. And when you think about the B2B payment space, it's pretty complex. And so automation has been really key as to how we've been able to scale those managed services and scale them with quality.
Hmm. Amazing. Great. You've mentioned this in your article briefly, but could you also explain what RPA and automation really is in B2B payments? And how does this really relate with your line of work when it comes to B2B payments?
Yeah, so the easiest way to think about RPA is that you've got a repetitive task, and let's say it's that you need to send out 500 payment reminders. And
Mhm.
so you're creating a spreadsheet, for example, with all of the accounts and all of the contacts. And then the robot is just going out there and methodically sending email one, two, all the way up to 500. And
Yeah.
what you've done is you've eliminated that manual task, which is great, but the real power in automation comes when you think more robustly about it. So it's the combination of that RPA, the robotic process automation, combined with very complex workflow. So think about it this way. The bot is now out there gathering facts, details, criteria to say what exactly is needed on this account right now. And then it's making the determination to say what email really needs to go out. So it's saying, oh, this particular account really is at the stage that they need a past due reminder. Whereas this account, based on the criteria that it's went in and pulled in, says we've got a payment, but we don't have a remittance. So
Mhm.
this account is really needing a remittance reminder email. So you're taking all of that and really thinking about not just the most simplistic automation, but how you can even make it more complex and more meaningful to your processes. And
Right.
how that relates to the B2B payment space is really the order to cash processes are complex. So it goes from everything from onboarding a new buyer. So we're onboarding a new buyer with net terms. So they need to know how to use the program, who to pay for the program. You're sending out the invoices to the buyer. You're running the whole collection process as well as the payments. And so automation is key to really drive that scale and quality into those processes. But I'll also say it's a delicate dance in the B2B payment space because when you're dealing with businesses, there still has to be that person to person connection and interaction that makes a difference in those payments flowing in correctly. But I'm here to tell you that if it's done right, the automation not only improves your team members or your employee experience because now they're working on really like not the tactical task, but the meaningful, making the right decisions where it's not a black and white decision, but you need to use your heart in the decision.
Right.
Um, and it also can lead to that better customer experience. And really that's twofold. Things are done more timely. You no longer have that backlog of stuff that you aren't getting to. And then second of all, you've got less error. So where possible, you're removing that human error element, and that also improves that customer experience.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think I've spoken to so many people on the podcast where they're trying to achieve that delicate balance between what should be kept manual versus what can be automated. And that's always like a discussion in the company, isn't it?
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
sorry, were you going to say something else?
No, I was just agreeing.
Okay. Great. So like my next question to you is like when it comes to automation, how can companies leverage automation to essentially scale their business?
So, first of all, I have to say, I love how you've worded that question. So many times you hear about leveraging automation for cost savings.
Mhm.
And although that might be an outcome of your automation, it shouldn't be the sole focus, in my opinion. What we've done internally is because scale has been our focus, what I've noticed is that the team tries to tackle the bigger, more complex processes and not just that sending the 500 invoices. And so by having the scalability, it opens the mind to say, I just need to make these processes better. And there's really good complex candidates within the order to cash process, like how to present the invoice to the buyer. And how do you think about that holistically to really scale that? We've also done a lot of scaling around the collections process, kind of like the examples I was saying up above with the automation, but that required the team to think holistically, not just about the past due reminders, but what are all the different ways that we would need to do outreach during that collection process. And then also a third area is around the cash application. So in the B2B space, it's really important that when you get that cash, you're applying it the way that your business buyer intended it to be applied, even down to the specific invoice. And also on this topic, I'm super excited. I will have two of our automation experts on stage with me at Crossroads. Don't know if you've heard about that, but it's a B2B payments conference that TreviPay is putting on the first week in October in Kansas City. And my process automation experts and I are going to talk about some of the ways that we've approached automation, some of our lessons learned. And so I'm really excited to be able to showcase that as well.
Amazing. And you've previously mentioned a bit more about customer experience. Can you elaborate a little more on how automation helps to improve the B2B buyer experience essentially? And how can we make sure that, there's a certain level of loyalty being built as well for the company?
Yeah. When you think about a B2B buyer and the experience that they want you to be really easy to do business with,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to have credit available in order for them to buy your products. And so, in order for a business buyer to grow, you've got to remove friction in processes that prevent them from wanting to do business with you and or running out of credit so that they don't have purchasing power. So when you think about removing friction, there's two parts of the order to cash process that are really prone to this friction. And the first one is around the invoice delivery and accuracy. So what's key here, if you really want that best buyer experience, is you want those invoices to be received, have all the right information, whether that's PO information, a cost center information, but you want that invoice to be able to go into your buyer's AP department and fly through without any hiccups, because then you're getting paid timely and you're easy to do business with. But it can also be as complex as they want their invoice delivered into either their ERP system or a custom portal. Very time consuming, very manual. But when you've done that right, also you've become very easy to do business with and even a little bit sticky, right? Because they've integrated into your system perhaps, or they've built RPA that allows it to flow in very quickly. And now without that friction, you're like, wow, I want to buy from this particular seller all day because my
Yeah.
invoices are, I don't even have to touch them. They just flow through and they get paid and they're easy to do business with. Um, the second thing that I would say is a friction point is around the payment and the payment application. So business buyers are going to pay you the way that they want to pay you. And that is like, we know that business buyers want net terms programs, which is why you would also engage TreviPay. We help run the net terms program. But when they go to pay that invoice, you may receive checks, ACHs, and even sometimes they want to pay their net terms account with a credit card. You've got to be flexible to accept any and all of those payments. But what that means is on the back end, then you have to know the complexity that comes with that and think about the automation that helps overcome the friction there. And the payment process doesn't end there because now that you've got that payment in the door, you now also need to receive that remittance, and they will send you remittances in every format possible. It could be a PDF,
Mm-hmm.
it could be an Excel, it could be even just be typed into an email. So automation around extracting that information any way that they want to send it to you and digitizing it so that now you can match it up with the payment in a more automated fashion is really key. So when you look at the delivery of the invoice and the payments and you make that super easy for your buyer, they're going to choose your product or services over a competitor's product and services.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what helps to really build that loyalty, is because you're delighting your customer.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for shedding light on that. I mean, this was like a very insightful conversation for sure. And yeah, I mean, do you have anything else you'd like to mention to our audience today?
Yeah, there's another topic that I think is really key, which is what are some of the signs that you might need help with your order to cash process? And
Mm-hmm.
so when you think about businesses and how they get into selling to other businesses, their core competency really is the product or service that they're selling. But the fact that they get into the order to cash and B2B payment space is almost by, I like to say, luck.
Yeah.
Because as they start to sell more to those business buyers, they wake up one day and realize they have all of these complexities of the order to cash uh, process, but it's not their core competency. So what I like to think about is if you're waking up and you're seeing that challenge, you're probably seeing that it could start to limit your growth. And there's really three signs that your order to cash process might not be as maximized as you would hope. The first one is that your customers will be telling you. Customers aren't shy. They will be giving you feedback that things are taking too long or that maybe things aren't as accurate as possible. Um, Also, you will start to hear potentially from your balance sheet owner that the cost of capital and the working capital expended on these B2B buyers is trending in the wrong direction. You're going to start to see your AR portfolio starting to age out. You could start to see more bad debt. And
Yeah.
so that's a second sign that maybe you're not maximizing your order to cash. And thirdly, is really around your ability to scale without increasing costs. So you may be thinking, if we bring on this next big buyer, which is really strategic and important for us, I'm going to have to add more back office team members in order to support that.
Yeah.
So really you're at a crossroads right there where thinking about the automation and the scaling with quality really becomes pivotal in order for you to continue maximizing your potential to grow your B2B business, which is probably the most exciting, vertical when you're selling a product or service is to get it to other businesses.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Colleen. I mean, this was like a very insightful conversation, and imagine how much like value your article is going to provide to our audience as well. So, thank you again for writing the article as well as for doing this podcast with us.